Well, hello, my friends. Excuse me. It's been quite a while since I've done a live video, and so I thought that I would go ahead and do one. And lots of things to talk about, lots of introspection on me and life in general, and different things as usual. Meditation, um, seeking that kingdom within, and so on. So I don't know if anybody will get on today. It's Sunday, so everybody's doing different things. But if somebody comes on, that would be awesome. Um, my beautiful wife and I went to Cancun for 10 days, and it was fun. I hadn't been to Mexico in, I don't know, probably 30 or more years. And so it'd been a long time, and I kind of forgot how it was down there. And we rented an Airbnb down there in a place called Playa del Carmen, about 30 minutes. Um, hey, Jeff, good to have you on. About 30 minutes from Cancun. And it was immediate culture immersion right into the heart. It was away from the tourist areas, and the neighborhood was quite poor. And I have kind of forgotten what it was like down there, and we were a little bit apprehensive. The Airbnb itself was a couple blocks from the beach, and about a block or two from there was a very, very poor area. And it's in and of itself was somewhat of a poor area, but the Airbnb was very nice, but everything was walled off with everybody had their entryways and gates and doors and high walls and things, and it was very interesting. So we were a little apprehensive at first, but the people were lovely and friendly and helpful. The language barrier was a problem. I grew up, San Juan Capistrano, about an hour and a half from the border, about an hour up above San Diego. And, used to visit Mexico occasionally in my 20s. So I've been there many times, and I knew how it was, but it's been so long I had forgotten. And I've forgotten any Spanish that I knew, which wasn't much at all anyways. And so that was kind of difficult, but still people were friendly. And we had the biggest battle was with our own minds. And once we settled in, things were fine. And we rented a car. Note to self, don't rent a car in Mexico. The driving down there is crazy. The only place that's worse is London, if you can believe that. We discovered that the road signs and the speed limit signs are only suggestions, especially for locals. And so I was still a little afraid to go any faster, or do anything, because they, I was worried maybe the police might, because they can spot a tourist a mile away, might pull me over, and try to shake us down for money. But we never got pulled over. Nothing. The police they seemed to could care less about what anybody was doing, pretty much, as far as driving goes. But we rented, but I drove around. I got used to it. It took a little while, but next time I wouldn't do it. I would probably just take taxis everywhere, let them drive, because they're used to it. If there's an opening, people go for it. And if you're going too slow, people want to get around you and go past you, and some of them are mad at you because you're going slow, that kind of thing. And the other thing too, like the place where we stay, and I'm assuming it's like that in most places, except I don't know, maybe not in the big hotels in Cancun, but you can't put toilet paper into the toilets. They have a little container that you put them into, and we were like, what? And so, again, seeing the poor areas and the poor, and people are rising above it down there, and they have made some progress, but not a lot since I remember. I used to go down to Ensenada, Rosarito Beach, San Felipe, places like that on the Baja Peninsula. And since Cancun is a touristy area, there's more jobs there. And so I noticed that more people have risen above that, but there's still a lot of poor there. And it really made me sad that it's still like that in the world. It's like third world country. And it really made me appreciate all the things that we have in America and in many of the Western countries a lot more. It reminded me that we are really blessed in a lot of the Western countries, and especially in America, despite all the problems and things that we have. And so, it was a good reminder. But again, the people were lovely. We had no problems with anybody. We ate at some great local restaurants. We did cruise up to the touristy areas where more people speak English. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice a little bit here or something. But anyways, but we had a good time. There was a lot of seaweed on the beaches right now, I guess because of the currents, and we hired a guide to take us to Chichen Itza, the big pyramid. That was awesome. That was well worth the trip right there. And she was a local girl that drove, and she had a minivan, and you know, like the speed limit would say 90, she'd be doing 120, you know, but everybody else was too. So we're glad that we did that, and she gave us a lot of insight on things and took us to some cool a cool restaurant to eat and a beautiful cenote. If you looked at any of my pictures on my feed, I have some pictures on the feed of there. These underground cenotes were amazing, 4,500 feet deep, crystal clear water, incredible stuff. The food, of course, was excellent. We had great food, and we really enjoyed it. And again, it made me appreciate what we have. By the end of the trip, we were ready to come home. You know, you think about like when you were in your 20s, you know, yeah, Cancun, man, we're going to go party. But by day 10, we were ready to come home. Although the place that we stayed was excellent, the Airbnb, it had everything that we needed. And we were able to, you know, it had a stove and a kitchen and that kind of stuff, and bathroom and air conditioning. And the folks that owned it, she was a native and he was from Italy. And so I guess they had 3 units there, and I don't know if they had more. But so that it was good to see that, you know, there's some entrepreneurial stuff going on there, and people rising above the poor circumstances. And so it's good to see, but it's sad to see the poor circumstances still prevail in this world and in this day and age in the 21st century. But people are rising above it. The biggest negative there was the high pressure salespeople trying to get you to buy a timeshare, or even just walking down through when we went to the pyramid, you know, they have a bunch of vendors on the trails there. They keep them away from the main parts, but still everywhere you go, they're trying to sell you something, and they're very high pressure. They haven't learned that people don't like that anymore. But they're trying to make a living. I understand what they're trying to do because they're very poor. In the Mayan areas, a lot of people on the sides of the road selling trinkets and things like that. And it just made me think, my gosh, you know, if you grew up and all you had to look forward to was selling trinkets on the side of the road, you know, they need some programs down there, and maybe they have some to teach people how to grow some of their own food, and maybe extra to sell in the marketplace. And some of them do that, but more people need to learn how to do that, I suppose. But it's a cultural thing too. You know, people grow up in a certain type of culture, and that's what they're kind of programmed to do. And a lot of them just go along with the program and don't try to rise above it, unfortunately. And so, because it made me really reflect, why is there such a problem with poor down here? You know, beyond the government corruption and whatever else goes on down there that contributes to all of that. It's a mindset, in my opinion. It's a mindset, and but especially with the internet and you know, things, people are rising above it, and others see them doing it and they want to do it, and so that's a good thing. It just seems like it's taken so long because, like I said, I grew up not far and visited Mexico many times, and I've seen the abject poverty down there, you know, especially in Tijuana, right at the border. There's just so much abject poverty there. The cartels, I guess, play a big part in that too, that in contributing to that. It's, you know, made me really reflect, why do we have that still? Why is that mindset prevalent still there in other countries in the world, unfortunately? And it is a mindset. It's a cultural thing, and that takes, you know, decades and centuries to overcome sometimes. And so, you know, but things are moving forward, I guess, and that's the good news. And so, yeah, it made me reflect a lot on that sort of thing. it made me look at myself again. I'm trying to do a lot of introspection and meditation and figuring out what exactly is it that I want to do. I know that I want to try to contribute something to humanity the best that I can. A lot of people are feeling that way. So I've been meditating on that and looking at different ways of doing that. I have a group called Quantum Life Awakening that I'm working on some stuff there, and I haven't posted a lot there since I'm on vacation because it goes in cycles. I'm, like I said, I'm doing a lot of introspection. I'm really trying to find the right direction to go. At some point, I probably need to just step out and just go with it, and and start putting some stuff out there that I believe can help people. And I do that a little bit, but I need to do something more. I'm not sure what the word is, more concrete or contributive to people can use. But anyways, and then I can probably adjust from there, and it might change totally eventually down the road. Trying to go with intuition and follow intuition, and be the best version of myself that I can. If you want to help others become the best version of yourself and set an example and let that radiate out, and pay it forward and help other people become the best version of themselves in whatever it is you do, and it doesn't have to be in the metaphysics or spiritual side of things or religious side of things. It can also be in business and work. And that's one thing I see in business. I see a lot of more ethics and morality and spirituality, people wanting to incorporate that into their business, because it's all part of it. We exchange value for value so that we can live a more comfortable life. And so it's good to have that in our business dealings instead of just us against them. I got to get what I can get out of it, and to hell with everybody else. That's their problem. It's the old win-win situation. You get what you want by helping other people get what they want too. And that's a basic sales thing from years ago, but it works, and more people are discovering that, especially in the Western countries, more developed countries. People are tired of the high pressure sales pitches, and even on the internet, I'm sick to death of I get bombarded with ads, especially because I've been trying to work on starting some type of a business, and I've sort of backed off a little bit from that, and I'm just going with the flow and seeing what comes. And if an opportunity comes to make a living at doing something that I enjoy, then I'll take it. But I'm not planning something right now. I was for a while there, and I may do that at some point again. I may need to do that, but if I do, it's going to be completely anti-sales funnel and anti-sales pitch. I don't want to have to talk somebody into something. I want people to be there because they want to be there, because they think I have something to offer. And I'm not exactly sure how to go about doing that. And I've looked at a lot of different people and a lot of different things. And maybe I'm just old and set in my ways, I guess, sometimes. Well, just copy somebody who's successful. Well, it depends on your definition of successful. If successful is just making money, I could probably go do that and make some money at it. But I don't want to just make money. I want to enjoy what I'm doing, and I want it to help people. I want it to be able to help people get what they want and do what they want. That's more important than the money. I never thought I would ever say that, but we all have to make a living too. I would like to make a living without having to work for somebody, and without my wife having to work for somebody, and so on. And I have my own business right now doing tech work, but which actually I haven't really been doing it much lately. But I'm still trading my time for money, and I want to do something that can expand. But anyways, and so that, and it's something that I believe can help humanity. And I put out a thing a while back, 3 keys to changing your life, affirmations, gratitude, and meditation, because they changed my life. And there's kind of a backlash against affirmations right now, and it depends on how you do it. But I can tell everybody out there, anybody who thinks affirmations don't work, you're lying to yourself, because you tell yourself affirmations every day. That dialogue that's going on in your head, it has a huge influence on who you are and where you're at today in your life. Whether you're believe that or not. Your majority thoughts kind of dictate the pattern of your life. Mostly because there are programs that run their past programs. And so if you want to change the future, you got to change that past program. And that's not necessarily easy to do. Affirmations is one aspect of that. Having, affirmations, they set your intent. Gratitude opens your heart energies, which are very powerful. That's how you manifest things. And meditation connects you with the divine side of yourself. Okay. And helps you to connect with the divine side and get that direction that you need to go. That's it, kind of in a nutshell. And I may do a challenge on that for people here coming up pretty soon, but I'm not sure yet. And if anybody thinks they might be interested in that, let me know, and that might influence me to do that challenge sooner with people. But again, people are good everywhere. That's another thing that Mexico taught me. Generally, people are good and friendly and helpful. It's only a few that cause problems. Like we were apprehensive at first, but we didn't have any problems, and everybody was friendly. And we found a cool little restaurant, local restaurant, a couple blocks from us, within walking distance, right near the beach. Great food. The gal could hardly speak any English, but we got by, and she was friendly and helpful, and the food was excellent. So, again, it was a battle with our own minds and our own thoughts, because a couple of blocks from where we were staying, there's graffiti on the walls and trash in the streets, and people are extremely poor. And so we're like, oh man, and bars, everybody's got bars and gates and walls and stuff. And so we're looking at this going, oh my God, did we make a mistake here? And then we went a couple blocks to the Airbnb, and it was much nicer and cleaner. It was still a very poor area, but didn't have the graffiti and stuff. And there was some trash here and there, but not like the thing. And I don't know, I'm living in Kansas, Wichita, Kansas right now. And I don't know what it is, compared to Idaho. And there's a lot of trash on the streets around here. And it's like, what is it with people? They just don't give a shit to throw their trash, on the street. It just doesn't make any sense to me, pick it up, for crying out loud. And it's a cultural thing again, I guess. It's a mindset, and it reflects the mindset of the people in the area, the kind of the collective mindset of a lot of people in there. And not everybody does that. Not everybody throws their trash in the streets or whatever. And it doesn't take that many people. Boise, Idaho is one of the cleanest cities I've ever been to. I used to do tech field work in LA, and and in South Orange County. So Boise, Idaho still has a little bit of that small town feel. It's got some big city aspects too, but it's a small city relatively compared to places like LA and Chicago and New York and stuff like that. So, and Wichita is about the same size as Boise, so it just baffles me that there's so much trash in the streets. Not like Mexico, but still, it's just, I don't know. So I went out and picked up a bunch of it myself one day, just, maybe to hopefully inspire people. So, we have a trouble overcoming our mindsets. Hey, Wayne, Scott, Mark, Waji, I'm not sure how to say your name, and I hope I'm saying it right and not doing it. Glad you guys are here, man. Glad somebody is listening. But I just wanted to reflect on some of the things I've been thinking about, some of the direction I'm going, and some of the thankfulness and the gratitude that I have for living in the great country of America, despite our problems. I'm not saying it's perfect and that we don't have problems, but going to Mexico reminded me that we really are blessed. And in a lot of the Western countries, and I went to London, and London has people in London are blessed too. And in other Western countries, I'm sure, that have a standard of living far above the third world, the so-called third world countries. And there's people that have risen a bit above it in those countries, but a lot of people in those countries largely still live in poverty and abject poverty. It's a struggle to survive. So it's sad in the 21st century that it's like that, but and I don't know what we can do. Just throwing money at it hasn't helped, obviously. America has given more money to more countries than any other country around, and it's helped some, but a lot of the problem is the governments of those countries end up appropriating most of it for whatever they want, and doesn't really get to the people that it could really use it very much. So I think programs of teaching people how to become self-sufficient, how to grow a garden, how, maybe to promote solar power and things like that, if they don't have power. Although most of the people down there had electricity, even in the poor areas, but still, it made me think, well, what can we do? Can we do to help these folks? Again, it's a cultural mindset though, too. So, maybe we help them out. Is that going to teach them not to throw trash in the streets? I don't know. So it's very interesting. Anyways, this is getting pretty long, so I don't know how many people will watch it after the fact, but let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people on. Hey, that's pretty good, guys. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I would encourage you to keep moving forward, whatever it is you're doing. Follow your dreams. That I love the quote that if you're not living your dreams, you're living your fears. And it brought it home to me when we went down to Mexico, because we went into fear right away, and it was unfounded. Like I said, the people were lovely and helpful and friendly. Something could have happened. You never know. Like I said, it only takes one person or a couple people, a couple of bad apples to do something to cause trouble. But living in fear, I believe, kind of attracts that. You're like a radio. And even all my years in martial arts, that we used to teach that if you're confident, you don't people who prey on people don't choose people who show an air of confidence about themselves. They choose easier targets. So even on that level, I think there's more to it than that, but still, uh, we had to overcome our fears, and we had no problems with anybody. Everybody was friendly and helpful. And so even despite some of our wondering, are we getting screwed here? So we did fall prey to one guy, except he wasn't as hard to sell as the other guys. And he was at the car rental place, and he was telling us about how we could get a discount to go to Chichen Itza, which we were interested in. And we thought, because we're renting a car from him, he kind of insinuated that. So it was a little bit deceptive. But he was a nice guy, and we sat down and listened to him. And then, of course, he wanted us to buy, to go listen to. It wasn't a timeshare, but it was at this night hotel, which was actually really nice. That we were looking at the brochures and everything. And maybe we'll come and stay there next time, is what he was saying. So he was a little less high pressure, but a little bit deceptive. And I told him that. I said, I said, you do better if you tell us right up front, if you tell people right up front, especially Americans, because we don't like that stuff. That's, and people still do that in America, some too, but it's going away. And it used to be a lot more prevalent, 20, 30, 40 years ago. But, people are tired of that. People are tired of the high pressure, hard sales. Just tell me what you want. Tell me what you're offering, and I'll tell you if I'm interested. I don't want to sit here and try to be deceived into doing something and then have something else sprung on me, bait and switch, they call it. Anyways, and I'm going to take that approach if I ever start selling something online, right up front. No sales funnel. You don't have to give me your email so that I can spam you, that kind of crap. Because I hate that stuff myself. Anyways, I just kind of rambling now, I guess, and we're at the 24-minute mark. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your family, your friends. Enjoy the blessings that you have, all the things that you have. Have gratitude for those things wherever you are. Even if you're in a third world country or a partially third world country. And I hope you don't take that as an insult. It's not an insult. Things are just what they are, and depending on the culture and so on. and people have risen above the worst circumstances, so anybody can rise above it. It's just a matter of deciding that you're going to do it. All right, take care, my friends, and I hope all is well for you and continues to be well. Bye-bye.